Hey. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of our Marrow conversation. As always, I am your host, Jason. Let me get the disclaimers out of the way, and we will get into her powers, her fun facts, and expansions, which will be awesome. Now, the information is still pulled like before from different sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. And as always, if you are listening on if you want to listen to me on a Tuesday or Thursday, you can catch me on Outworld Fleet Radio. Their website is www.un-conventional.com/radio. You can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall@yahoo.com. You can send me a message on Twitter or Instagram under superherodeepdive, or with YouTube, I am under superherodeepdive. You can comment, like, subscribe, share the video with friends, help me grow the channel. I want to do a giveaway at 500 subscribers, so yeah, the sooner we get to that, the sooner I can give something away, right? Awesome. And like I said in the previous video, I have been doing these YouTube shorts with superhero memes every day. I've started that about a week ago, and they have been really kicking off nicely. I get lots of views with them, and it's helping to grow the channel. If you want to actually give an intro for a video, just do something real simple. Just say who you are. If you have a channel of your own, you can say the channel, but you're saying you're watching Superhero Deep Dive, and here are today's superhero memes just for you. Be creative with it. Shouldn't take more than 10, 11, 12 seconds maybe. And email it to me at that b4itall@yahoo.com. And I will actually use that with the memes and post it and get you some views and hopefully get your channel to grow too. So thank you guys. Let's get into the powers. Okay, so Marrow has got some awesome powers. Marrow is a mutant born with the ability to enhance and grow her skeletal structure. Initially, this was uncontrollable and very uncomfortable, but after an enhancement by a Skrull medical facility and later again by Weapon X, she can mostly control this despite each enhancement having partially failed over time. She utilizes his powers in many ways, including the creation of knuckle guards, spears, spikes. She's done other armor. She's done swords with it. She's run the whole gambit pretty much. She also possesses a healing factor with enhanced immune system, much in the same vein as Wolverine, since every time a bone is ripped out, a wound, which remains, closes itself soon after. She also possessed 2 hearts to compensate for her random bone growth. That's actually pretty cool. So one time when Storm ripped out one of her hearts, she was actually able to survive. Now it's possible that the first heart could have regrown due to the healing factor. Which I would like to think that she probably has, like they established before, she had 2 hearts. So I would think if one got ripped out, another, like, it would regrow, but she still has that second heart. So, you know, that's pretty awesome though. Her bones seem to be much more durable than normal, and she had easily survived heavy hits in multiple areas of her body. For example, Flag Smasher hit her twice on the head with his mace without much damage, and Sabretooth threw her against a wall without harm. She's also jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge twice, which is something that should have resulted in death or at least crippling injuries, without taking any major damage. And she was actually able to walk away from it. So, you know, she's pretty awesome. Like, she's pretty tough. Now, like most mutants and X-Men who possess a healing factor, Marrow is also more agile and stronger than the average woman in her age group and physical condition. Marrow has excellent tracking skills, spotting a hidden Prime Sentinel even a super soldier like Sabra had not noticed. So this is pretty cool, and she probably gained a lot of that ability, or at least honed it, like developed it, when she was in that dimension having to fight for her life, you know, like the survival of the fittest. she probably had to learn how to really tune into things. And it's not just having the ability, it's being able to use it. So that's pretty awesome. Now, an often overlooked part of Marrow's mutation is her unusual skin and hair color, which she's possessed since birth. In almost all of her appearances, Marrow has pink hair. While she is sometimes shown with a white skin tone, Marrow is more often shown to have a vivid pink tone in her skin. During her time with Weapon X, her hair and skin color was depicted as having a notable purple tone to it. And Marrow has actually lost a lot of her abilities since M-Day, and as a REM with a person with visible remains of the lost mutation. So REM is kind of like remaining. Now in X-Force Volume 4, number 2, it was revealed by Dr. Nemesis after much careful examination of Marrow that while she regained her powers, he also stated that she is still not a mutant, and how she regained her original powers of generating bone weapons and her healing factor is unknown even to him and Cable. However, he had lied about that last part, since they had actually discovered that the process used on Marrow comes from the Earth 1287 universe. I'm not sure which universe that is. But the process was taxing on her, and her restored powers were overloading her biology, and Nemesis ended that her body would give out in a year's time as her cells began to spontaneously combust. That's kind of crazy. Now, that's a lot of powers. Like that's pretty cool though. So she's her own arsenal. Like she's everything that Superman's Doomsday could have been, I guess. You know, without the rampaging beast kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry. I trailed off. But fun facts. Marrow was originally supposed to have the codename Sheath, but the editors nixed it because they thought it had too heavy a sexual overtones. So, you know, they were like, no, let's stay away from this. Now, Marrow is the only Morlock who ever joined the main X-Men team as a member. Most others, like Callisto or Caliban or Leech, only helped them out as supporting characters. But she was the only one to actually fully join. Now, there was a similar mutant called Spike, who is a male trainee X-Men possessing similar powers that appeared in X-Men Evolution, which was a cartoon. But he shared no similarities to Marrow other than his powers and the fact that he joined the Morlocks. So this was kind of I think this was their way to put someone in, and they just used her and basically changed a couple things around. Now Marrow's skin, eye, and hair color seem to change from artist to artist for unknown reasons. I think that's mainly because the artists they didn't come up with anything continuously. Like they just did it, and there was a lot of interpretation. I don't think she was ever meant to be a main character, so they just kind of had freedom to do it. Now Marrow also appears as a playable character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and she makes a background appearance in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in a Days of Future Past poster, where it says that she was actually slain. Now Marrow is a boss character in X-Men Legends, which is an awesome game. She leads both the Morlocks and G-Nation. She eventually sides with the Brotherhood after she arranges for Healer's capture, until she's informed that the Brotherhood care nothing for her people. In X-Men Legends 2, Rise of the Apocalypse, during Apocalypse's invasion of New York, she is mentioned by Moira McTaggart to have survived along with most of her Morlock people from Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister's attack on New York, and is stated as helping in refugee aid. Marrow also made a cameo appearance as a Weapon X test subject in the 2016 comic book film Deadpool. A woman with bones protruding from her back can be seen as Wade Wilson enters the Weapon X facility. Marrow also appears in the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series. This version exists in a future dominated by Master Mold. She was first doubtful of Professor Xavier's leadership when the Sentinels brought Cerebro to the camp. She is later saved from being squashed by a Sentinel by Xavier. Marrow befriends a reprogrammed Sentinel dubbed Rover, and when Rover is destroyed due to Bishop's decision of using the robot as a decoy against the other Sentinels, Marrow decides to help the Sentinels against Xavier, since the Professor's presence in the future caused the death of her only true friend. This relationship with Rover is a take on the brief series Sentinel and bears similar plot elements to those of Tom Skylark and Rover in Grant Morrison's Here Comes Tomorrow arc from New X-Men. However, though she didn't intend for anyone else to get hurt, the Sentinels betray her and attack. She and Polaris later help Xavier in the fight against Master Mold. Whew, that was long. So what do you guys think of Marrow? Like, it's pretty cool, right? Like, she even got in video games. So, you know, there's definitely some substance to her. But let me know your opinions. Like I said, you can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. You can also catch me on Twitter or Instagram under superdeepdive, and I use the hashtag superherodeepdive. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I have extra videos coming out on Fridays. Like, I think I have medieval versions of superheroes. Superheroes as cats. I think I have one I'm working on now. Superheroes as dogs. Owl superheroes. Like, just random things that would be fun. You know, so that just help me grow the channel is basically what I'm saying. And yeah. But let's get into my favorite part. This is the power expansion. This is where I take the hero and I look at them and I go like, do they need a movie? Do they need an animated series? Do they need a new comic series? Do they need a standalone series or live action thing on like Disney Plus or Hulu or Amazon Prime or Netflix? Because they all kind of have their own feel to it, you know? So where would I go with this character? Now, like I said before, I've always been a fan of Marrow. And I think that if there was ever a superhero made for the gritty 90s type superhero movies, it would have been her. Like, she would have been perfect with it. And I think she can still be perfect in today's movie scene. And when I'm saying the 90s, like, gritty superhero movies, I'm thinking of like Spawn, The Crow, stuff like that, you know, like stuff that had kind of a darker tone to it. And like with a kind of a horror type feel. So that, like, picture that, okay? Now, first of all, it does need to be a horror themed superhero movie with Marrow. With the special effects growing her bones out of her body and using them as weapons, like come on, man, that's awesome. Like, you gotta do that. She's got a cool story too, and we can totally build on it, but her story is kind of dark and gritty. But we need to kind of either expand it, manipulate it, something like that, you know? Like, so let's start with her being abandoned as a baby because of her mutations. And some other mutants get her before, like, the orphanage opens the door. Like, so she's left on an orphanage step, but some other mutants take her because they notice that she's a mutant. So she grows up in the sewers or alleys or whatever, you know, like that stuff with the Morlocks. And she has to learn to control her own mutation and learn how to defend herself in it. Now, I don't want her going to, like, a different dimension to have to fight for survival of the fittest. I want the real world to kind of show her, you know, people picking on her and pushing her around because she's different. Other mutants that may have been in the community longer, you know, are trying to establish their dominance because they don't want to share what little they have with her. Stuff like that, you know, where she's got to learn how to fight to survive. Let's see here. She also has to learn that she can control how her bones grow, which can then, you know, cause her to manipulate her facial features to maybe be more aesthetically pretty. And in doing so, she can start to venture out into the world. You know, like, if she can grow her bones, like, to come out to be weapons, then she can manipulate those as well. She can be taller. She can manipulate the size, like stuff like that. She can manipulate her facial features, I would imagine. So we have the prettier version versus the one that's, I don't want to say freakishly ugly, but you know what I mean. The Morlock, the not passable for human. But when she's doing that, she finds out about a group of mutant haters, like the Mankind Liberation Front, and she starts to take them down. Then she finds out that her parents, like her real parents, were actually part of the Mankind Liberation Front, and basically threw her to the curb when they realized that she was a mutant. So, this is one of those stories that it's kind of cliche, but at the same time, when teenagers, when they come to grips with their identities, and if it's not in the norm and they need to break it to their parents, it's a very stressful thing. There's always that fear of, them getting kicked out, or just rejected in general. So this is someone that actually had that happen to. She's got to deal with that, and I think that's something that kids can relate to, especially. And I'm not going into the whole gender or sexual identity, just identity in general, finding out who you are. She's got to do that with her powers and with her background of having to fight and struggle and kind of get to wherever she needs to be on her own. She's got to do that. So she gets her revenge from her parents. Maybe not by killing though, but maybe she gets them all arrested. She takes down the Mankind Liberation Front. Or at least gets them incarcerated for illegal activities. Stuff like that. She gets it taken down. And that could be a whole adventure. But we should have the movie, the end credits, ends with her at a mansion door, or standing in a mansion door opening, and her asking for Charles. She doesn't have to give a last name. She can just say, I was told to speak to someone named Charles. And then, maybe, just maybe, when whoever opens the door, we don't see who opens it, but we hear a growl or something, which could imply Beast or Wolverine as the one that actually opened the door. And this could feed into the whole mutant stuff and, into the MCU, and just gonna go from there. But what do you guys think? It's pretty good? Pretty solid? Right? I would like to think so. But who would you cast as this Mamma Jamma? From a purely looks factor, I chose Ruby Rose. Because I think that if you look at a picture of Ruby Rose, and if you look at some of the artwork for Marrow, it's about as close to Marrow as you're going to get. Now, I'm not too familiar with her acting. I saw her as Batwoman before, and I couldn't tell if it was necessarily bad acting or bad writing. So I don't really have an opinion. The only other thing I really remember seeing her in is one of the Pitch Perfect movies, but she was singing. She wasn't, and wasn't she in Orange Is the New Black at some point? So she has to have some kind of acting chops, right? These are all solid roles. But I don't really have an opinion. I did hear at one point that she was hard to work with, but I really can't comment on that either because I don't really know. Now I think Rihanna could be a good look as well, but I'm not sure how that would fit in the story, or at least how I have it laid out. But you never know. It could still work. It could still work, right? But the reason I said I wasn't sure is because usually when you have, if you close your eyes and you picture a kind of a bigoted hate group, you imagine, I don't know. I'm just gonna let you imagine it. You tell me who you would cast. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I'm not getting political. I'm staying away from that. I'm just saying, I chose Ruby Rose as my first choice. And then I chose Rihanna because I thought she's awesome anyway. But what do you all think? Do I have something here? Like I said, let me know. You can leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. You know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help me get to 500. And like I said before, if you want to do an intro, a custom intro, I may be able to actually add it into the YouTube videos as well. But let me know who you are. If you have your own YouTube channel or something, you can say like, hi, this is Bob with Bob's Comics or Bob's Fishing. I don't know. You know, this is Bob from Bob's channel. You're watching Superhero Deep Dive, and here are today's superhero memes just for you. Do whatever you want, but keep it like 10, 12 seconds long, and I'll add the memes afterwards, and I'll post it, and it'll get a few hundred views, and maybe people directing to your channel. But you can also reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram under Super Deep Dive. You can email me at b4itall@yahoo.com, and it's the number 4, so b4itall@yahoo.com. But I think that's about it. That's all I've got today. So, with that being said, I hope everyone is blessed. I hope everyone's happy. I hope everyone's safe, and I hope everyone is smart. And if you're not smart, don't get caught. I will see you guys next week. Everyone be good. Bye-bye, guys.